to review any kind of private material that requires a court order.
The gunman in 3 recent mass shootings left signs online that they might commit these crimes. Why identifying a potential shooter is more complicated than people think.
The loss of life or the wounding of a child is unacceptable.
And a violent weekend in Indianapolis leaves the community searching for solutions. The reason the city says it's still on the right track.
That much heat, can cause stress on the body, can cause stress on the organs and stuff like that. And that's a real fact with our firefighters.
Plus, an increase in heat-related emergencies is keeping local first responders busy. Thanks for watching. New details tonight in a story we've been following since yesterday. Authorities have charged a 21-year-old man with a deadly mass shooting at that 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. Robert Bobby Crimo III has been charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder. The shooting spree left 7 people dead and injured more than 30 others. Prosecutors say they will seek dozens of other charges related to each of the victims. If convicted on the murder charges, Crimo will face a mandatory life sentence.
But these 7 counts of first-degree murder will lead to a mandatory life sentence should he be convicted, without the possibility of parole.
Investigators believe Crimo pre-planned the attack for several weeks. Officials have revealed the suspects behind several recent mass shootings left an online trail of warning signs before the deadly rampages. The men accused of shooting up a New York grocery store, a Texas elementary school, and a 4th of July parade yesterday all posted troubling messages before the shootings. Experts tell Courtney Crown that identifying the next shooter isn't as easy as logging into a computer.
Before the massacres, the accused shooter in Highland Park posted some ominous and violent videos online. In Uvalde, that accused killer warned a teen online he was about to, quote, shoot up an elementary school. And in Buffalo, police say the gunman expressed his plan in an online diary on a private server. Knowing this, we wondered,
do we have people stationed online watching folks?
No, not generally. In order to review any kind of private material that requires a court order.
Former FBI agent Doug Coons explains authorities must have probable cause of a crime before they begin surveillance of someone's private content.
You can go to a judge, you write up an affidavit and ask them to sign an order to allow you to review that content. But without that kind of due process, no, it doesn't just happen generally.
Coons said opening up an investigation into a person takes permission from upper-level managers. He says usually law enforcement gets an initial 90-day period to take action, like search databases.
Ultimately, if there's nothing to escalate that, eventually they're going to fall off the radar.
If you suspect a person is scheming to cause harm, you should call police.
It may not be actually a threat. It could be, but that's not for you to decide.
Police and the courts can remove guns from potentially dangerous people through the state's red flag law.
It can be on the basis of several things, behaviors, threats or comments relating to violence, social media posts and texts.
This law removes guns from those a judge deems dangerous and prevents them from purchasing more for a short time.
Basically what it is we just want to be sure these individuals won't harm themselves, won't harm other individuals.
A red flag case does not mean law enforcement can start surveillance. Ultimately, experts say the community's role is to alert authorities to concerning behavior.
No matter if we think that they're serious or not, to report them unless we absolutely know that they're kidding.
There are plenty of ways you can submit tips to law enforcement at all levels, and we have information for you on our website, mywabashvalley.com. The death of an 11-year-old Mount Vernon boy has been ruled accidental by the Posey County coroner. Preliminary autopsy results show that 11-year-old Cameron McMichael died from a head injury due to a firework mortar. State police say that Posey County Dispatch received a call just before 10 Sunday night about a child being seriously injured from a fireworks incident. That child later died while being transported to a hospital in Evansville. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing. In Indianapolis, the violent 4th of July weekend left nearly 20 people wounded and 3 men dead. Jesse Wells explains what investments are being made to address the ongoing violence.
The deadly shooting here on Grant Avenue marks the 114th homicide of the year. While that number remains the second highest on this date in the city's history, city leaders insist that spending millions of dollars on community grant money will eventually help reduce the levels of violence in the city. Police say a fight between family members on this street led to a shootout that claimed the life of 26-year-old Anthony Higginson Jr. 53-year-old James Mason was killed outside his home on 34th Street, and 31-year-old Madad Saad died in a shooting on the northwest side.
It was a sad weekend. My heart goes out for those families who have been affected.
In addition to the trio of homicides, the holiday weekend also saw 2 men wounded in a road rage shooting. 2 kids were shot inside a bounce house, and a juvenile boy was hit by a stray bullet on Eugene.
The loss of life or the wounding of a child is unacceptable.
Still, Mayor Hogsett points out there has been a decrease in homicides compared to last year, although the numbers also show the last 3 years have seen significantly more killings than the prior 3 years. That same trend is also reflected in the city's non-fatal shooting victims.
We're not declaring victory, but I do think that there is some hope that we have, that the investments that we are making are working.
In addition to spending $9 million on better technology for IMPD, on Wednesday, the city will award $4.5 million in violence reduction grants to grassroots groups.
Everybody needs to be a part of this.
Lauren Rodriguez maintains it's too early to judge the success of the new investments before much of the money has even been awarded.
It's been 6 months, but we're just now able to get some checks out to people.
And to do their job, authorities are also urging the public to speak up and turn in any suspected shooters. Crews were on the scene this evening of an accident involving a passenger vehicle and a train. The collision happened just after 9 p.m. on the train tracks on Lafayette Avenue near 5th Street and Elm Street. There's no word yet on if there were any injuries, but the scene has since been cleaned up and traffic is now moving through that area. We're also working to learn the cause of that crash. We'll continue to update you with more information as this story develops. A driver was trapped in their vehicle for about 3 hours this evening after leaving a Knox County roadway and traveling into a wooded area. Sergeant Todd Ringel with the Indiana State Police said the vehicle was traveling north on Old US 41 about a half-mile north of North Ford Road. That's when the vehicle left the roadway for an unknown reason and traveled about 100 yards. Another motorist noticed the driver trapped in that vehicle and called authorities around 6:30 p.m. The driver was brought to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the crash is currently under investigation. In Terre Haute, 2 people were injured after a vehicle crashed into a tree. It happened early this morning near the intersection of North 14th and Chase Streets. According to a crash report, witnesses told police a vehicle speeding on 14th Street almost hit them, but it swerved and failed to stop at a stop sign. Witnesses say the vehicle almost hit a parked car, but then swerved again and left the road, crashing into a tree. Police say the driver, 27-year-old Montrell Snoddy of Terre Haute, was under the influence. He now faces a charge of operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Snoddy and his passenger were taken to nearby medical facilities. Fire crews battled a house fire this afternoon in Terre Haute. It happened at a home located in the 2300 block of Tippecanoe Street. It's unclear at this time whether anyone was at home at the time and what started the fire, but we will update you as we learn more information. With high temperatures outside, local first responders say they're having to respond to a high number of heat-related emergencies. Whether it's a fire or a person with heat exhaustion, first responders are busy. Terry Craig caught up with fire and EMS officials about how they're handling the increase in responses. Terry.
Heat-related emergencies are most common in the summer, but those who I spoke to say that this heat wave is causing more emergencies than in years past. High heat indexes, dry conditions, and wind gusts could be the recipe for disaster for a fire. Terre Haute Fire Chief Bill Berry says these conditions are all too common in the summer.
With the low humidity and dry conditions, sometimes when the wind's blowing, obviously fires can get out of control. It's a good combination of getting fires started and going.
The intense heat of a fire combined with high air temperatures puts immense pressure on firefighters. Berry says that having to respond to multiple fires during the heat could be a strain on the firefighters.
When it's this hot out, we're inside fires, stuff like that, they're getting worked to death. I mean, it's their job, but that much heat, can cause stress on the body, can cause stress on the organs and stuff like that. And that's a real fact with our firefighters.
Jared Rankin with the Otter Creek Fire Department says that they're responding to a high number of heat-related emergencies, such as heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
Heat-related emergencies are kind of very underestimated. They're kind of not considered as something that any person could deal with, but the reality is that heat-related emergencies are the #1 weather-related cause of death.
Whether finding a place with air conditioning or a place in the shade, Rankin says that staying hydrated is the best way to avoid heat-related illness.
When you're exerting yourself or when you're sweating profusely in these high temperatures, you're actually supposed to drink 8 ounces of water every 20 minutes. So it's a pretty significant increase in the amount of water intake that we bring in.
Rankin advises to check on your neighbors or those with pre-existing conditions to make sure that they're okay in the heat.
All good advice. Thanks a lot, Terry, for that report. Well, the holiday weekend is over, and many people were faced with travel issues. Coming up, we'll look at the impact of so many people on the roads. Later in sports, the Recs look to start the second half of the season with a win as they break out the bats again and the gloves against the River Dragons.